I'm half human and half mermaid. So when I'm on land, I need legs to walk around. When I touch water, so I go to the ocean, that's when I turn into a mermaid. You get questions from people saying, don't they take the sharks out when you get in? It's like, no, it's their home. I'm in their space. So you have to go in with a lot of respect and a lot of patience as well, because if there's one of the animals in the window when we want to be diving, we have to be patient, we have to let it do its thing and move on very naturally. And also the audience then have to have that kind of respect. Yes, they've come to see a mermaid show, but a turtle is swimming in front of the window right now. We're not going to let him do anything other than swim in front of the window. It's what he wants to do. So it can be quite funny because you're sort of sat there going, okay, is it time yet?
If you do enjoy this episode, please do take a minute to go over to our YouTube channel, Be Here Now with Jay France, podcasts and documentaries, and please do hit that subscribe button and that notification bell to be updated with all the latest interviews and content on the page. I hope you enjoy this episode. Thanks for watching. Right, hello and welcome to Be Here Now with Jay France. Today I'm joined by, some might say, real life mermaid. We're about to find out, Laura Hudson. So let's have a chat with her. Okay, so how you doing, Laura?
Hi, I'm really good, thank you. How are you?
Yes, I'm really good, thanks. Thank you very much, and thanks for doing this interview today as well. What I like to do with my guests is start from their early life. So basically, where was you brought up, Laura?
So I was brought up in a very small village in the south of Lincolnshire called Long Sutton. Really small in the countryside, really nice. So kind of felt like I was almost a nobody. I was just, a small dot in the middle of nowhere, really shy kid, like you wouldn't believe. But I always wanted to put myself up for performances and I wanted to be on stage. And you sort of, if you grow up in a small village, you almost never think that you'll amount to something. And I've proven myself wrong.
And we're here today to talk about your mermaid career and stuff like that as well. Obviously, there's a certain point where you did turn into a real mermaid as well. So we'll discuss that in finer detail a little bit later. But it was interesting that you said that when you was growing up, you was actually quite shy and quite an introvert and stuff like that. So did you do you think like getting into performing is something that you always wanted to do?
Definitely, always wanted to be a performer. Every time we did a school assembly, I wanted to say a line. All of the school plays that we did, the pantomimes, the shows, always wanted to have a part, and I never got a speaking part. I was always just like the walk on, and it was okay. I was still part of the show, but I wanted the big role. I wanted to be the main person. And it wasn't actually until later on in my life that, just by some strange turn of events and the types of jobs that I ended up with, that I found who I really was, and I actually found the confidence in myself. Like when I was a kid, I could never imagine doing this kind of thing, and I would never want to get on stage and talk into a microphone. And now you can't stop me. So it's been amazing. And I always do kind of look back at the really shy little kid that I used to be, hiding behind my mum at school drop-off time, and she's like, you can go play with your friends. I was like, no, I want to stay here, until the bell went. And now I'm performing all over the country, and I've got UK titles, I've got a European title to my name. So it's just absolutely mad how life has just turned out.
Yeah, definitely. And I can really relate to what you're saying there as a performer. You find a lot of performers, which is quite an interesting area. A lot of performers are quite shy. A lot of stand-up comedians and stuff like that. People expect them to be the same off stage as when they are doing their thing on stage, and you develop that confidence as well. What kind of things was you doing leading up to starting to get into what you're doing now? Like, is there any other performances and stuff you've done growing up into this point?
Yeah, so I think the turning point for me was actually working at Alton Towers as a performer. So I worked there for like 4 seasons, and I did 2 Halloween seasons before that. And I kind of worked my way up from being the shy host and just somewhere near the bottom, to then actually going, I want to be a performer. I'm going to the audition. I'm going to do this. And I got the job roles with the costume characters, but I wanted to be on the stage doing the shows. I was just doing the meet and greets, sort of roaming around the park in special meet and greet tents. I thought, no, I want to be the one on the stage doing the shows, presenting with the head mic on, Britney Spears style, with the little microphones. And I kind of put myself up for it again, and I was like, okay, got the same job again. And I thought, no, this time I'm going to go for the show performer. That's what I want to do. So yeah, one year I got a promotion and ended up finding myself doing all these amazing shows. And I did actually have, I'll be honest, I had a panic attack when someone said to me, you need to use a microphone today, and just go, and literally all it was doing was managing a queue line for a meet and greet for a couple of characters. And I knew exactly what I had to do. I knew what I had to say. And the idea just completely freaked me out. I was like, I can't use a microphone. I can't do it. I can't do it. So someone else actually stood in for me to do that job. And I vowed to myself, next season, I'm going back. I'm using a microphone. That's my goal. And they rang me up February half term. Do you want to come and work? It will be comparing for the Cook and Line show, who are from CBeebies. And I sort of said down the phone, I was like, that's using a microphone, isn't it? And they went, yeah, we'll call you back in a few hours, have a think about it, because they knew how much of a big deal it was to me. They knew that I wanted to do it, but they wanted to make sure I was happy. And I was, no, I'm fine, I'll do it. And they're like, no, we'll call you back, it's fine. They called me back and I said, yeah, just do it, just let me do it. And it was, I mean, baptism of fire completely. To get on stage, you're comparing for these 2 guys who are massive on CBeebies with their show. And I thought, oh my God, this has got to be good. I've got to get the audience geared up, ready for their show. And sort of 2 days into it, the boys actually came up to me and they said, you did a really good intro. It was amazing. The audience were excited and singing and joining in. And I said, well, this is the first time I've been on a microphone. And they couldn't believe it. They were so complimentary. And they said, you're going places. Like, you can do this. You're a natural. And it just inspired me to keep going. And yeah, I've not stopped.
Excellent, nice one. That's it's really, really interesting. I do find that area really interesting, of how I can relate to that as well, of doing my first ever gig, like playing music and stuff like that. It's you build up a lot of stuff in your head, don't you, that's not actually real, and you create scenarios in your head that could possibly happen at that time. I remember doing my first ever gig and literally like thrown up in the toilet. Do you know what I mean?
My God, no!
Just before, yeah, a little thing I shared with you there. That was,
oh.
and yeah, no, and then going on to do the gig. But the minute you step on that stage, it's different story. It's something else takes over. But it's the build up, isn't it, to a performance that people will. And you can relate that to a lot of things in life, like job interviews and stuff like that. You build up and think about stuff in your head, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. It is that thought process. It's what could go wrong, what happens if this happens, what am I going to do if that happens, and then you just go and do it, and you think, well, what was I worried about?
Yeah, so it sounds like
But
at that time you developed a lot of your you can't overcome a lot of your anxieties and stuff like that in, with performances and stuff like that. So would you say then that that kind of like inspired you to do more and more stuff and go down the career of what you're ultimately doing now? Um and yeah, and so could you explain how that went from performing and stuff with Alton Towers and stuff like that then to getting into becoming a mermaid?
so actually, when I was at Alton Towers, I wasn't allowed to have my hair this colour. I had to be normal, natural.
Yeah.
Which in a way, it's like, well, actually, you're not getting the real me. I
Yeah.
find that being, who I want to be, I can perform a whole lot better. So actually, when I left at the end of the season, I knew that I wanted that to be my final year. I'd done everything that I wanted to do. I conquered my fear of talking on the microphone. I'd presented the shows. I loved it. I'd done every job that I possibly could in the entertainments department. I finished on a high. I was a show captain for one of the scare attractions for Halloween, and I was
Cool.
performing. So I left that job in a really good place, really happy with everything I'd achieved. And I was like, now what do I do? And it's, kind of finding your feet, and then I dyed my hair literally the last day of season. I was done. I was finished. I bought the box of dye. It went on. Immediately, I was like, I'm me. And I mean, I've gone through different colours. I've had green, blue, purple, all sorts. But I think I dyed it green that year. I left, and everyone said, "Oh, you look like a mermaid. You look like a mermaid." Things snowballed very quickly. There was an advert on Facebook for Mermaid Camp, and sort of someone jokingly put on there, "Oh, you should totally do this." And I
Yeah.
went, "Okay." People should never say that to me, because
Yeah.
I'll take it seriously.
You
I'll
will do.
probably go, "Yeah, okay." It's a challenge. Sounds great. And I looked into it, and it was a lovely girl called Grace, who was like sort of this amazing, almost founding UK mermaid lady. And she runs a business doing mermaid parties. She used to do princess parties, and then found this kind of niche in the market and was like, let's tap into that. And then she decided that people were putting tails on and holding their breath really dangerous if you have no training whatsoever. So she decided to put together this mermaid camp idea and actually train people professionally and give people the experience of being underwater, and having the free diving skills. So yeah, I looked into it and I was like, sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I'd love to do that. And because I'd obviously left my job, I'd actually moved back home. This was 2017. Moved back home. I was kind of obviously trying to find what I wanted to do job wise. I was like, what am I going to do for the rest of my life now? And I thought I'd give self-employment a go. I couldn't afford to go to mermaid camp. I was gutted. I was like, okay, I'll do it next year. And I told myself I'd do it next year. I signed up to receive all the notifications so I didn't miss it.
Yeah.
And I emailed her and I said, I'll do it, definitely doing it 2018. I'll be there. You just, keep me updated. And I also, actually, the same year, 2017, I did get offered a place as Miss Mermaid Lincolnshire to compete in Miss Mermaid UK. Again, didn't have the money, couldn't afford it. And again, I vowed to myself, I'll do it next year. I'll do it next year. So ended up getting, a couple of little here and there jobs. And then sort of towards the end of the year, I had a job. And I was like, right, okay, here we go. Save the money for Mermaid Camp. And
Yeah.
that's what I wanted to do, was save that money and do what I set out to do. So glad that I did, because my life has totally changed forever. I never imagined that I would be a professional mermaid. I didn't even know such a thing even existed. I'd never really heard of free diving. I didn't know, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. But 100% wouldn't change it for the world. And I couldn't imagine my life without it now.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. That sounds really interesting. Setting up those camps as well, like I said, because you know, like one thing is to kind of dress up, which is cool as a mermaid and stuff like that, but then to actually get the right training behind it and stuff like that as well to then become professional. So, at what point did you go through the camp, and then how did it change of when you then become professional?
Um, my journey was quite quick.
Yeah.
So
So
very
is it usually quite a long process then, is it?
there are mermaids who have been kind of doing this for years. They're sort of a lot of them are hobby mermaids. They like it, but they don't necessarily want to have a career in it. They just enjoy it. Some people do kids parties and they're happy with that. Some people want to do more with it, but they kind of maybe not in the right place at the right time, or they need the training to back it up. um, Sort of all different scenarios
Yeah.
that there, within the mermaid community, there's lots of different avenues that people can kind of
I
go
imagine
down.
some people just want to have that sense of community as well, right?
Absolutely. Oh my God. The community is amazing and we're all really supportive. We've got like our own little Facebook group that you're only allowed in if you're a mermaid in the UK. And
Oh,
we're
wow.
always sharing stuff in
I'll
it.
get my
And
towel ready.
yeah, I know. And we just help each other. So people will post in there and say, "Can you recommend a brand of makeup that stays on underwater?" And I'm doing my first photo shoot, and can anyone give me some tips on buoyancy? And you know, any question that people have, just chuck it in there. And sometimes we'll just put random memes in there.
Yeah.
I posted something the other day that was hilarious. There was someone calling an aquarium a liquid zoo. I was just like, right, it's going in the merpod.
Going
It's in.
straight to the merpod.
Yeah. But yeah, community is just, I mean, it's out of this world. It's so good, so good.
So if you are a mermaid or an aspiring mermaid, what would that page, how would they join that? Could they join the group?
Yeah, they can. So I've actually got a friend of mine who I used to work with at Alton Towers, funnily enough. She's watched my mermaid journey and she was asking me about it. And she said, "Can I sign up to Mermaid Camp?" And I went, "Yeah, of course you can." Sent her all the details and then I went, "Oh, you need to come into the Merpod." So I sent her like a request to join, and you have to obviously answer the questions to be allowed in, because it is just for those in the UK. Um, and yeah, she's in it already. So it's brilliant.
That's a nice one. Excellent. So yeah, so getting back to what you were saying about when you become a professional, when you kind of graduated from that mermaid school, um, you're saying that the journey was pretty quick for you to from when you went to the school to then start working in that profession. Is that right?
Yeah, very quick. So the camp was in the June. Um, in the August, I did the open water part of the course and completely passed it with flying colours. So I had to do a 16-metre dive down into the depths and come
Wow.
back up again. So passed my level 2 in the August. End of September, Miss Mermaid UK. Obviously, went in it as a complete newbie. I'd only been doing it for 3 months, and I did feel really guilty. Sometimes I kind of reflect on it and I go, "Oh my God," because I was kind of stood on stage with some ladies that had entered the previous year, and a lot of people had been mermaiding for quite a few years. And
Yeah.
then I kind of felt like I swanned in and
Yeah.
took the crown. And
You
but
obviously worked hard of what you know to set out your goals of what you wanted to do. And can you talk a little bit about the actual training process of how to train to, like you just said, to do the deep dive and stuff like that, and holding your breath and stuff like that, that kind of breath control. Like, what's the
yeah,
training process like for something like that?
um, it's a whole world of
Yeah,
technical
can
stuff.
imagine.
We have to do as part of it's AIDA free diving course, so it's an international qualification, and you have to actually do some theory work. So you have to learn about the science, about your body, and the dangers of it, and you always have to dive with another buddy. Um, they are a body, they're a buddy, um, and never dive alone. And they have to be sort of at the same level as you, so you know that you're always safe. You have to practice actually rescuing people as well from certain depths, so you know that you're always going to be safe, whoever you're with. So yeah, there's a lot of theory that goes into it. We have to sit and do a written exam, and you have to get a certain pass grade, percentage to actually pass. So it's quite intimidating. I mean, I turned up to camp, I hadn't read past chapter 1, which was so bad. I just didn't have time. So I was kind of cramming every night, going, "Oh, I need to read another chapter. I need to do this." And then, passed it, thankfully. But then you learn about the whole breath holds side of things, which you'd never know. I turned up and they said, to pass the course, you have to hold your breath for 2 minutes. I went, that's impossible. You've got to be kidding me. And I was panicking about it because it just seemed impossible. How do you hold your breath for 2 minutes? And when you're actually taught how to do it and the kind of cycle that you have to go through, there's a lot of preparation work, and you don't just go under and hold your breath. You actually do 3 or 4 increasing breath holds, with a certain rest time in between. It's like double whatever your breath hold was. And then your final breath hold is your best breath hold. And you sort of try and get that to go for as long as you can while staying safe, with your buddy tapping you on the shoulder. Tends to be every half minute. Sometimes you have to kind of give a thumbs up so they know you're okay.
Mhm.
It's
That
it's
sounds, yeah,
crazy.
it sounds like a real kind of intense process and stuff. So would you say that like there's a lot of kind of stigma against mermaids in terms of kind of people maybe kind of just laughing at the fact of being a mermaid and stuff like that? And like you said before about there's communities where it's cool, where it's just about community having a bit of fun. But when you're doing it professional, can that be quite frustrating as well sometimes?
Definitely. I've had my fair share of stupid comments on the internet, as people do. They've got nothing better to do.
Yeah.
I kind of always say, if you've got nothing nice to say, don't say anything. People don't get it, but that's fine. You've got no reason to comment if you don't get it. They kind of just think that you're all a bit crazy, because obviously, for all intents and purposes, we are real. Because when you're a performer, you're entertaining kids, you want them to believe that you are real. When you're in that moment, you're a real mermaid. People take that out of context and go, "Oh, they're crazy. They think they're real." No, this is my job. My job is to make little kids believe I'm a real mermaid. I know Santa. I know the Easter Bunny. I know the Tooth Fairy.
And then just quickly interrupt quickly. If there is any kids watching this Laura is a real mermaid as well. So just to put it out there.
Well, actually, I'm half human and half mermaid. So when I'm on land, I need legs to walk around. When I touch water, so I go to the ocean, that's when I turn into a mermaid. So
Yeah,
there's a lot of magic involved in my life. Um, so
yeah.
at the
And
moment,
you were saying
I've got
about
my
the
legs on.
yeah. You were saying about it's frustrating with sometimes with when people would leave comments and stuff like that online and stuff.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I get to be paid to swim in an aquarium, so I can't really complain.
Yeah.
If they don't get it and they want to put a silly comment online, then fine. But this is one of my many jobs, and it's the same as people dressing up as a Disney princess. It's the same kind
Oh,
of
definitely. Yeah.
scenario.
And it's also the same as like when I was growing up, I used to like wrestling, I still do watch it sometimes, but and as a boy, like it is real. And the thing is that with wrestling, obviously the storylines are scripted, but what they're doing is very real. And there's people that died and stuff like that in the wrestling
Yeah,
profession.
yeah. And I think because people don't quite understand how hard the job is, and actually how athletic and how skilled and how much training you need to have to do this job, and the qualifications that you need to do the job if you're performing in an aquarium, they don't understand that aspect of it. Actually, it's a very difficult job, and not everybody can do it. There's only a few of us that get to do the job that we do in the aquariums. So I'm very blessed to be one of them. And actually, I'm the UK's most experienced aquarium mermaid because of the amount of shows that I've done all over the country. So I can't
That's
really complain about
fantastic.
that.
Yeah.
And,
And just
you know, I
yeah.
shrug off the comments. I just look at them and I go, oh, okay, fine.
Yeah, I think that's the best way, definitely. And what would you say about the internet on a whole, positive or negative? Because I think it obviously has both kind of things. And would you say it's been beneficial for your mermaiding and stuff like that as well?
I've got a lot of amazing supporters. Some people I've not even met, and they comment on everything, and it's really lovely. A lot of people that know me, they follow my journey. They've been like trawling the internet and gone, look, you're on BBC News today, and I was like, oh, amazing. They'll go and pick up the paper if I'm in it for an article, and they'll sit and read it. They'll share everything that I'm doing, and they're
That's
so
great.
supportive, putting loads of comments online. So that's a nice boost amongst a couple of odd comments that you just see.
Yeah, definitely. And what would your advice be for young people that want to try and get into it as well with or for that kind of thing, with the negative? Because I think it affects a lot of young people, take it a lot more personal and stuff because they've been brought up more in with the kind of internet revolution and stuff, isn't it? And what would your advice be for taking criticism? Because also there is a point where you should be able to take criticism as well if it's constructive, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think if it's when people start to say that you've got psychological issues, it's, well, you don't know me, so you don't know that. So for any kid that wants to be a mermaid or a merman, you can do whatever you want to do. You just need to tell yourself in your own head that you can do it. Like, the sky's the limit, world's your oyster,
Yeah.
as the sticking a pun right there.
Throw that pun in there.
There's, and you know what, one person making a silly comment, there's plenty more fish in the sea that are going to love you for what you do. So just do it. Whatever dream you've got, if you want to be a firefighter, be a firefighter. If you want to be a policeman, be a policeman. If you want to be a Disney princess, go and be a Disney princess. Don't let anyone tell you that you can't do something unless you like get to a point in your life where you go, I can't. Fine, pursue your dreams for as long as you can. You
Definitely.
never know what's
Excellent.
going to happen.
And don't get caught in a swamp. Sorry, I'm just trying to get some I'm just trying to get some sea puns in there as well. Cool, excellent. Yeah, so let's now move on to say when you was getting into becoming crowned Miss Mermaid UK. So what was the process of the competition like as well?
That was another whirlwind.
Yeah.
So I actually found myself the morning of, so it was over 2 days, it was a Friday and a Saturday. The morning of the Friday competition, I was actually on BBC Radio Lincolnshire doing an interview. I was like, yeah, I'm packed and I'm ready to go as soon as this is finished. And we did like the underwater section of the competition. So we had to do underwater photo shoots, but we have no goggles, no weight belts. So you have to be able to control your buoyancy with your breath hold. And obviously you can't see anything, so your eyes sting because it's chlorine, which is always good fun. But that was I mean, because I'd been in such a rush, I wasn't quite in my happy space, if you like. And actually, it was Grace that runs the competition as well, that does mermaid camp. And she could see that something wasn't quite right, and she sort of said, "Okay, take a deep breath." Again, no pun intended. Take a deep breath. She said, "Just, you did fine. Just take a deep breath. You've got your distance swim to do next." She said, "Don't let it get to you," because I was sort of beating myself up, thinking I've not done like poses that I wanted to do. I didn't really achieve what I wanted to do. We only had, I think, 3 attempts to get a photo. And the photographer, amazing. He snaps away and he'll always try and get the best shot he possibly can. But again, it's that in your own head, you get in that headspace and you go, I didn't do that and I didn't do that. Picked myself up, did the distance swim, and I think it was like 64 meters in one breath. Again, no goggles, can't see anything. You just go for it and turn around at the other end of the pool and come back. So I ended up doing that 4 times in the pool that we were in. And I was sort of getting to the end and I was like, okay, I'm done. And I knew the other girls had done either 1 length or they'd done 2. And I was like, well, I've done 4, so I'm happy. I was like, oh, I've given myself a good shot there.
Yeah.
And then we did kind of it was quite nice. We sort of went out in the evening, we had dinner, and some of us were together from the competition. So it was really nice to get to know other contestants and have that kind of experience together, rather than just, I'm competing against you, I'm not going to talk to you. We were together, we were in that experience. So it was lovely, and I got to sit and talk to previous year's Miss Mermaid UK, who happened to go on and win the international in 2017. Weirdly, also called Laura, also a seamstress like me, and it was like sitting and talking to myself in a mirror. It was really bizarre. I was like, there's this person who's exactly the same as me.
Yeah, there's 2 of you.
Yeah, I think the world is going to end if there's 2 of us. But I was like, oh my goodness, could I possibly follow in her footsteps? Could it happen, or is that just too much? And then on the Saturday, we got to the venue early. We had rehearsals, so we had to rehearse the catwalk and which directions we were going, which order we were in terms of height. I found myself kind of at the bottom of the line, and then they went, actually, we need to do this with all your shoes on. And then I found myself near the back of the line. And then they were numbering us up, and I quickly looked down the line. I was like, working it out. I was like, I'm number 13, which is my lucky number. I was like, okay, just had a dream about that. I'm going to keep that to myself.
That's interesting. It's 13 supposed to be unlucky, right?
I know, yeah. But my lucky number, I'd had a dream that week that I was number 13 and that I'd won. So I tried not to let it get the better of me. And then we were allowed to do a dress rehearsal, but I was like, I'm keeping everything a secret. I don't want to reveal. I don't want to give anything away. So I kept it all quiet until showtime. And we also had the opportunity we had a talent round, but we had to pre-submit our talent. We had to video it. And the judges decided on, we had a top 6 who then got the opportunity to perform on the night, to kind of break the show up a little bit and give them a bit of music. We had someone reading a poem, we had someone playing a flute, we had someone doing a dance routine, and I got to showcase my pole dancing because I'm actually a pole dance teacher. And it was great because a lot of people, again, it's another thing for people to sniff at and get the wrong impression over, but it is really difficult. It's another strength-based activity.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I know a couple of friends that do pole dancing, and it takes a lot of endurance and stuff, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. So I already changed people's mindset about that. I had people coming up to me after the shows one of the contestants' dads came up to me and went, "Oh my God, that was amazing. You were like hanging upside down by 1 foot. How do you do that? It was amazing." I was like, it's, a lot of strength, a lot of core, coordination as
Yeah.
well. When you're upside down, you have no idea what's left and right. But yeah, I had a lot of fun. I improved the entire routine. I don't like to pre-plan things because if I go wrong again, I'll kick myself about it. So I just made it up on the spot, on the night. And that was kind of like my raw emotion and personality right on stage.
Yeah,
Loved
definitely.
it.
It's bringing your discipline and what you're doing, and then having that balance between not pre-planning. It's like, obviously as a musician and stuff, you have to learn your parts and stuff like that, and it's very important to learn that discipline at home. But then, as soon as you go on stage, you want to try and keep it that natural, and it's a bit like what we're doing now. We haven't
Yeah.
pre-planned this. We're just chatting.
Yeah, nice and authentic, because it's reality at the end of the day. And even the same as kind of the sort of the pageant walks and poses and stuff. I practice things at home. I practiced in the shoes. And again, on the day, I didn't want to give anything away of like my favorite poses and that kind of thing. And it just happened on the night. Everything came out, bam, pose, loved it, absolutely loved it. And I thrived off the energy, and you've got the audience there that are cheering you on. My family were there, which was amazing. I sort of spotted them. So actually the way that I had to walk on stage, my walk across the front of the stage, my final pose was towards them. So it was amazing. So I was just walking along, smiling at my family,
Excellent.
thinking, "Oh, they're watching me. This is amazing." And then obviously to have them see me actually win the whole competition, it was astonishing, because I'd not got any of the secondary titles. They kind of give, who's got the best eco costume, who was the best photograph, all that kind of, each round gets an award. And I didn't get anything. I was like, oh, that's it then. I've not won. I've not got anything, and it's feeling a bit deflated. And then they announced for England, they announced the second runner-up and the first runner-up, and I was like, oh, I've not won, because there was no chance. I didn't see myself winning, because there were so many other girls,
Yeah.
so many other girls that were competing for England. I was like, oh, that's it. And then they said my name.
Excellent. Nice. Well,
Like,
congratulations as well. But congratulations.
I couldn't believe it. I was in shock, and I just looked at my mum going, "What?" she was in shock. I think we were just like looking at each other going,
Yeah. But all
and
that
then
dedication and hard work
I
paid off,
know, I was like, "Oh my God." I mean, I was going to bed at 4 a.m. I was making my eco costume for the whole week, and it just took so long.
How do
Um,
you find kind of switching off when you've got a big tournament the next day? How what you like with sleep and stuff like that, and switching off and trying to get into the mode?
I don't.
Yeah, mermaids don't
um,
sleep, do they?
no. So I mean, all of that week leading up to the competition, because I had a lot of work to do on my eco costume, I just didn't. I was going to bed at stupid o'clock. I was getting 4 hours sleep, and then I was up again doing some more. And even the day after the competition, because I'd been in that mode of 4 hours sleep, I had 4 hours sleep.
Okay.
It took me a couple of days to kind of unwind out of that.
Yeah.
My first aquarium show that I did, I was the same. I was so nervous, and I was kind of dreaming about it, so I didn't really get a lot of sleep. And now it's my job. I get a lot of sleep because it's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
another day.
definitely. Yeah, that's I think this is not panic, and knowing that you can do that and win it on 4 hours sleep is it's
There was a lot of makeup involved.
yeah.
Definite bags under the eyes, but yeah, it was it was amazing. But I also then had to kind of stand there with, you know, tears streaming down my face. I was shaking. I thought the bunch of flowers were going to just drop all over the stage because I was just shaking so much. And the crown kept slipping off my head. I was like,
Yeah. No, it's fantastic. All these kind of like little tiny insecurities are what people kind of think, that they see an image of someone and stuff like that and think, oh, she's so super confident and stuff like that, and I could never do that. But everybody has these kind of like little insecurities and stuff, don't they? You know.
yeah, definitely. And it, you know, I'd obviously gone into the competition against so many others that had been doing it for so long, or they'd competed the previous year, and I thought, I don't really stand a chance, but I'm going to go. I'm going to have fun. I'm going to get some brilliant pictures out of it, and we'll see what happens. And I think actually the week leading up to it, as I was making costumes and I was getting things together, I was like, maybe I got a little bit of a chance. You know, I didn't want to look at who else was competing. I didn't want to stalk out the competition because I knew I would get freaked out. So I was like, I'm just gonna no Facebook stalking, no nothing. I'm sure they all stalked me because they knew that my breath hold at that point was, I think it was 4 minutes at that point.
Okay.
So I think they knew that I could hold my breath.
Yeah.
And then I had to stand on stage and listen to the other countries being announced. We had Wales, Scotland, and Ireland. And then out of the 4 winners of each country, only one of us could win the shiny silver crown.
Okay, cool. Can we have a quick look at the
yeah. So I've actually got, so the gold one is the one for being Miss Mermaid England. That was my England crown. And then this one, this isn't the actual real crown, this is a replica because it gets handed over to the next year's winner. And we have to add something to it. So the first person put on the starfish and the big shell. The other winner before me, the other Laura, she put on tiny little shells at the bottom, which are really sweet. And then the 4 at the top, that was my addition before I handed over to the next winner. But I didn't want to be left with an empty shelf. So I found the exact same crown online and recreated it. So I've always got something to remember it by.
Excellent. That's great. Yeah, I was just going to say, it's not the one, don't drop it and stuff.
Yeah, I know. No, this is the replica. This one is mine to keep forever. So yeah, I didn't want an empty shelf. I wanted the big shiny silver crown.
Oh, definitely achievement.
For the UK. So yeah, I love it.
Nice one, excellent. So then, how did you won the UK competition, and then you mentioned that you went in for was it Miss Ocean World? I think you said.
Yeah, so that's been the latest adventure, which is really good fun. Brand new competition that a director in India decided to start up last year. Obviously, middle of a pandemic, why wouldn't you?
Great timing.
Yeah, so obviously it had to be a virtual pageant, which in the beginning I was like, I don't want to do this because I wouldn't have the same experience. Because when you go to pageants, you get that sisterhood and you get that bond, you share an adventure together, and especially going to an international competition, you get to travel, you get to go somewhere, and you get to meet other girls from all over the world, and you share your stories and you stay in touch. And it's really lovely. And I was like, I don't want to do a virtual. It's not going to be the same. And then I thought about it. I was like, if I do it, I'll be the first Miss Ocean World UK, and that's something that you're never really going to get to be the first at something in a pageant, because there are so many well-established pageants now that the chance of a new one coming up is quite rare. So I was like, I'll do it. Do it. Stop thinking about it again. get out of your head and do it. And I had so much fun because I actually had to record every round that we were doing. we had to kind of pre-record, kind of catwalks and have photos, and then we had to submit those, and they were released throughout December. They were actually online, so the public could actually vote as well, which was quite nice to see lots of support from different people. And then we had the judges were voting. Well, they were scoring us in secret. And then we had a top 7. So we had a top 5 that the judges scored us on, and then the 2 people that got the most public votes from December, they automatically got put through to the top 7. And then we had a Zoom interview with the judges.
Okay.
So it was kind of crazy, because I was like, oh my God, we're talking to India right now. And you've got all these faces of all these different judges, and they were jewelry designers, fashion designers, people kind of in pageant business. And it was really exciting. I wasn't nervous, because it just felt like I was having a chat with someone on Zoom, which I'd done all throughout the pandemic. I'd done countless Zoom quizzes and
definitely.
and meetings, as we all have, I'm sure. So it didn't feel any different to normal. So I kind of relaxed into it a little bit more.
Yeah, there is something to said that we was talking about that, weren't we, off before we started the interview, about kind of doing things on Zoom and talking on Zoom, and doing stuff online. The difference between doing that and in real life as well, it's a different mindset, isn't it, somehow?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, it feels like you're not really talking to someone, but then you are. But I always feel like I'm more relaxed. I think because I've been so well used to it in a year, that it's just normal now.
Yeah, it's
So
just like a
it's quite
balancing thing as
easy.
well, isn't it? It's like, because then
Yeah.
when you do come into, a lot of people now are developing kind of social anxiety where they didn't have it before, but because then when they are talking to people, they're so used to doing it that way. So I think it has its place, but it's trying to find a balance between the two.
Yeah, definitely. And it's still giving people, at the moment, it's still giving people an opportunity to do things that we can't do in real life. So at least it's helping, obviously, with performance work. We can do like virtual podcasts.
Oh
We
yes,
can
I like
do,
doing this. It's like we'd have to
yeah,
arrange to
you
meet. We're quite far apart from
exactly.
each other. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so it's kind of, there's definite benefits of it, but obviously we'd all like to get back and see people face to face as well.
Definitely, yeah. So, going on to the now onto the touring, the sea life centres, that kind of side of things. So, is that something that you was doing quite regularly, working in the sea life centres, and like, how can people come to see what you do?
Yeah, so throughout 2019, I was all over the country. I actually, sometimes I didn't even know what day it was. I was like, oh, it's Blackpool Day, or it's Scarborough Day, or it's Manchester Day. Because I was just going from aquarium to aquarium. I mean, the amount of washing that I did of all my mermaid stuff was ridiculous. It's get home, chuck it in, pack it away, off to the next job. And I'd have to kind of plan which tail I was going to wear, and which one I was going to take, which one was still going to be drying, which one was going to come away for 3-4 days to go somewhere else. So there's a lot of planning and prep involved when you're all over the country. But I've been blessed to obviously go to so many. I mean, the mileage on my poor car, has done its work.
Couldn't you swim in the ocean, though, right?
A little bit colder in the North Sea.
So you bet your human legs come into play then.
Yeah, let's get the human legs on and go driving. It's quicker.
So mermaids do drive. You heard it here first.
They do. I certainly do. Yeah.
Cool. No, so now talking about the actual sea life centers and stuff like that as well. What are the because I know that you are swimming with like sharks and turtles and stuff like that, and what are the dangers, and how do you prepare for something like that as well?
It's very dangerous, and again, this is another side that people might not necessarily understand about the job. We do actually get questions from people saying, don't they take the sharks out when you get in? It's like, no, it's their home. I'm in their space. So you have to go in with a lot of respect and a lot of patience as well, because if there's one of the animals in the window when we want to be diving, we have to be patient, we have to let it do its thing and move on very naturally. And also the audience then have to have that kind of respect. Yes, they've come to see a mermaid show, but a turtle is swimming in front of the window right now. We're not going to let him do anything other than swim in front of the window. It's what he wants to do. So it can be quite funny because you're sort of sat there going, okay, is it time yet? just take your time, you know. And they're just casually swimming around, and they are funny to watch. And it is usually right when you're about to dive and you've got your breath hold ready and you're prepped, you're ready to dive, and literally I will just go, oh, there's a turtle. Bail. But we can't actually see anything because we're not in goggles. We can't see anything in there, so it's all a little bit of a blur. We can kind of pick out colors, so you'll see like the light color of the sand at the bottom. You can kind of see the window frames if it's got different sections in it. But sometimes, you know, if you see a fish, it's just a blob that swims past you. And, you know, if it's a bigger blob and it's grey, it's a shark.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's huge. But we also, the only way that we have to communicate with each other is by tapping. So we have a safety diver, and sometimes we'll have one of the sea life aquarists also in the tank as well, just watching. And it's really strange because actually if you do this under the water, you can hear it. It sounds like someone tapping on the glass, and that's our sign to each other of be aware, something's around.
Yeah.
Sometimes it might be, you know, a shark's nearby, so just stay at, you know, I'll stay at the window, I'm not going to move around. Sometimes it'll be maybe you look above and, oh, there's a turtle up there, okay, I'm just going to stay low, you know, I'm not going to do any somersaults because it's right above me. If you hear it go really quick and it's a quick tap, get out.
Yeah.
Swim back. Swim back to safety, something's happening.
Have you had any kind of experiences with that, or do you know anybody else, or is there any kind of like famous stories with where people have come close with sharks whilst doing mermaiding?
Oh yeah, we do, but they're so chilled and relaxed. So there's, you know, obviously there's all this hype about be scared of sharks. Sharks are scary. Shark infested waters. They're lovely. They're so gentle and tame, and if you just let them do their thing, you're fine. The main thing is to just not panic, because if you then flap and you panic, then you make a situation. Whereas if you stay calm and relaxed and you just stay really still, they just swim past you. Like,
Yeah, yeah, and I think the glamorization, like you watch Jaws and stuff like that as well, you know, and is inbuilt in people's psyche in it
yeah,
to be fearful of. But yeah, like you said, it's using common sense. You're not going to go up, and it's their space. You're going into their space, like someone
yeah.
would come into your home, would they? And
No, exactly. And there was one moment, I think I've got a video of it. I think it's on my Instagram somewhere. I was sort of swimming along as you do, and from the other direction there was a shark coming, and we both kind of look at each other and go, oh. So he went one way and I went the other. I think neither of us expected to see the other one there. And I've also had it where I've seen a shark coming towards me because that's his kind of loop through the tank. That's where they like to swim. And I've just casually lifted up my arm and it's just swum past me underneath my arm. And then you'll turn to the audience and you'll go, shark. because I like to do sign language in the tank.
Yeah.
So that is a shark, and you try and teach the kids from inside.
And does the shark turn to his mates and go, mermaid?
Mermaids, yeah. Watch out, mermaids about.
She's knocking about here again.
Yeah. It's hilarious. Like when you actually watch it happen as well, you're like, oh, that's really funny.
Yeah.
It's just, there you go, let you through.
No, it sounds really, the danger's definitely real there as well, and it sounds like you have to be really kind of know what you're doing with and is that like with the training for the sea life centers and stuff like that? Do you get a lot of training beforehand and practice with sharks and stuff like that? Or
Yeah, so a lot of the girls that then become part of the team, they will do like a training day, and they'll actually go in a wetsuit, snorkel, goggles on, and they'll just look and they'll just watch for a whole show. They'll watch us do our thing, and they'll watch the animals and see how they behave. And then the next time they might be in the tail and they'll be performing. And they'll do a couple of dives sort of out of view so they can see how they are, because salt water is totally different to chlorine. It's much nicer. It doesn't sting, which is amazing. And it's obviously getting used to that vision of the blur. And getting used to the depth as well, because some of the tanks can be 3 meters. I think the deepest one is about 3.5. So for the girls especially, they have to then equalize, which you have to do for any depth whatsoever. So if anyone's ever gone in a pool, like a really deep pool, and you dive down and then you get pressure in your ears, that's because you actually need to equalize all the air spaces in your face. So that's part of the training, is to be able to do that. Weirdly, I think I was born to be a fish because I don't need to equalize. I've never had a problem with it, so I can actually dive in all the aquariums that we do at the moment without equalizing. And the girls think I'm mad. And I've actually started, I think because of the amount of shows that I do, I've started to get really clear vision. So I sometimes spot a ray coming before the safety diver has even had a chance to tap, and he'll watch, and I've literally gone, oh, okay, I'm just going over here.
yeah.
And I'll come up and he'll say, I didn't even get the chance because I spotted that you spotted him before I spotted him.
Oh, wow. Really interesting.
And I've started to pick out at the window. I can start seeing shapes and colours, and I'll go, there's a little girl down there with pink ear defenders on, and she's got a navy duffel jacket on with a fur trim, and they're like, how can you see that? What's going on?
Do you think that some, like when you're diving and stuff like that, and you're down there, do you think that you go into an almost kind of meditative state and stuff like that as well? Like, do you think, like when you're saying you tap into other things and stuff like that in your mind, do you kind of think that the holding the breath and stuff like that is you enter into a different kind of state of mind?
Yeah, definitely. It's part of the training to actually be able to clear your mind and totally relax. And I know that's really hard for a lot of people to just switch off and think about nothing. I used to do yoga, and I really want to get back into it. It's just trying to fit it in around a really busy life. But it's definitely useful to have that. And I do something called a body scan. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it's a mindfulness sort of activity that you do. And I do it before I do my breath hold training as part of my relaxation, before I'm actually doing it. And you kind of go down your body and you start to just focus in on like your forehead, your right eye, your right eyebrow, your left, and you go through every little part of your body. And I've actually fallen asleep sometimes before I've got past my knees.
No, that's excellent. Because I do a similar thing as well, where it's like a body scan, but you visualize this kind of like say like this white mist kind of thing, and then you take a deep breath in and imagine it going into each organs of your in your internal body and stuff like that, and you're really getting it into a relaxed state.
Yeah.
And it's amazing what you can then do, and then you're in the moment. So like I was saying, and when you're actually in the ocean and you're doing that moment, you're thinking of nothing else whatsoever apart from in that moment, ain't you? You know, and that's that's a great kind of discipline, and a lot of joy to be found in their moments as well, isn't they? You know.
Yeah, and I find as soon as I go under the water, because there's not really any sound, it's hard to describe. It just sounds like water.
Yeah.
There is no description for it other than it sounds like water. But as soon as I go under the water, I feel like I'm the only person there. I know I'm not, but it's strange how relaxing it is, and how far away from everything you are in that moment. And I'll just enjoy it, and I'll make up whatever I'm doing. If I'm doing a somersault, I'll do a somersault. If I think, oh, I'm just going to blow a big bubble kiss, I'll just do it. And it's making everything really fluid, so it flows, because you don't want kind of a skittish mermaid. You want to look like you're just really ethereal
Yeah,
and
definitely. I suppose that's another
graceful.
niche for a skittish
Yeah.
mermaid. There's a market for someone out there to take that.
I'll be honest, when I first did it, like my first few shows, I was too fast. I was very quick.
Mm.
Because you think, right, bam, I'm gonna do that. Bam, I'm over here. Bam, I'm at the window. Wave, wave. And now I'm very focused in on slowing everything down. And then that actually increases your breath holds considerably, because you're slow moving, you're not erratic.
Yeah, looking at going back to the breath hold kind of thing. Do you you must be aware of Wim Hof, who does the cold exposure guy?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought you
Yeah.
might have been for some reason. But yeah,
Mm.
what do you think what do you think on his what's your honest opinion on his breath control kind of things that he does?
Um, from a freediving perspective, don't do it. Do not ever use Wim Hof's technique in water. You will black out,
Okay, interesting. Yeah.
because he does a lot of. I've seen him on telly. Every time he's on telly, I get a little bit tense about what he's going to say
What
and
he's gonna say, yeah.
what he's going to get him to do. I've seen him on This Morning. He's had Phil and Holly literally nearly passing out on the sofa because they're just so euphoric. If you do that in water and you hyperventilate, you will have a blackout. And if no one's there, you're in trouble.
Well, yeah,
So,
very good point actually, because I've seen people like Russell Brand championing him, and he's
mhm,
very popular in like the YouTube community and stuff like that as well. When he with
yeah,
and don't get me wrong, there's probably like you said, there's probably a place for what he's because he goes on a lot about of curing certain illnesses and stuff like that through the
yeah,
breath control. And there is a lot to be said for the breath control and stuff like that as well. But using it, someone taking that, the danger is someone taking that advice and, like you said, using it in the wrong way
yeah.
can be very dangerous.
I think from a meditative point of view, from that relaxation point of view, on dry land, great, because yeah, there is a technique there, but 100% do not do that in water. Um, yeah.
Cool. So what would be the Laura Hudson technique of breathing?
I do everything by the book from Ada freediving. That's how I've been taught. I do what I'm told.
Cool, excellent. And do you do that as a separate discipline in your practice routine? Do you have to is it something you have to constantly keep doing? Like can you lose the ability with the breath control? So I think you said you got 4 minutes and 35 seconds, was it?
Yeah, very long. So I'm really bad at training, in terms of motivation and time, just finding that time, because actually for me to do a breath hold, I need an hour to actually do it for the full cycle. Um, because you have to prep, so you have to relax for at least 10 minutes. Then you do your first breath hold. So mine is probably 2.5 minutes, my very first breath hold. And then I have to double it for my relaxation. So I have to then relax for 5 minutes before the next breath hold, and it keeps going on 3-4 times. So it's a very lengthy process. And if you're trying to do it at home on your own, I've got a talking stopwatch to try and help. But you're always having to, like, I need to write my time down, or I need to check, have I had enough relaxation time? Have I done this? It's so much easier if you have someone doing all of that for you, like the admin side of it.
Yeah.
And I haven't actually been able to test it in water for 2.5 years, 2.5-ish years, I think.
Yeah.
Just because I don't have anywhere locally to me where I'm allowed to train, or I don't have a local freediving buddy that knows what they're doing. So I can't go and do it with someone that I couldn't go and do it with my parents because they're not trained. I need someone that understands the signs to look out for, potential blackouts. I need someone to know my own limits as well as myself, because you have to agree, if I'm going to go for this time. If I don't come up at this time, you have to pull me up.
Yeah.
Something might be wrong. So there's a lot of safety aspects involved. And it's frustrating because I know that if I had somewhere locally, I'd be there every week. I'd be doing it, and I'd probably be at sort of competition level. It's disappointing to kind of look at it in that respect. But it's fine. I've got a very natural breath hold, which I'm blessed with. Sort of everything that I've done leading up to this point has obviously helped.
And do you still obviously keeping fit and stuff with your, like you said, with your pole dancing and stuff like that as well? You still keeping that going through lockdown and that, and keeping fit?
Sadly, not pole dancing. I haven't been able to teach any lessons. So I'm now worried that I'm not going to be able to do that when I get to go back and teach. I'm going to be just sliding off back to zero.
So what's been your exercise routine, your lockdown routine?
Not a lot. I have done a couple of virtual Tough Mudder challenges. I'm actually a Tough Mudder ambassador. I hate running, I'll be honest, which is hilarious. But I still, again, put myself forward for doing it. And actually I did, just the other week, I did a 12-hour virtual. It was called the Equinox Ultra to celebrate spring coming. And I managed to kind of run and walk 30 miles in the 12 hours and do 6 challenges and get it all uploaded and have dinner and like just cram it all in. I was like, I did 30 miles and I came first for my age category for the women in Europe, and I was so blown away. I was like, okay, I'll take that. So I've had a few Tough Mudder challenges to do, so that's at least kept me some kind of fitness level.
Excellent. And have you been keeping up with the maintenance of the stuff you have to buy, like the accessories and stuff like that for when you go back doing it as well?
I've actually just started taking one of my tops apart because I just literally stuck loads of beads to it in a bit of a rush for Miss Mermaid, funnily enough. And I've just decided I'm going to take them all off and I'm going to revamp it a little bit. Everything else has kind of just been in storage. I was very fortunate to do some wild mermaiding in the summer when we were kind of eased off a little bit with restrictions. And we went swimming in a reservoir and in a secret hideaway place that's got water.
Okay, cool.
Secret location. But it was amazing, and people were coming up to us. We had wild swimmers swimming over and going, "This is amazing! Like, tell us more." And so that was
is that
quite
a good
nice.
feeling as well, that when people are and like I said, the magic of, especially the magic of children as well, like, and but the when people react to it, is it a good feeling to see their response to it?
Yeah, it's actually really amazing to have the adults have that interaction with you and be intrigued and want to know more, because normally they're the ones that sniff at it and go, oh,
Mhm.
funny. But to actually have a lot of support from, I mean, wild swimmers, of course they want to know more. They're interested in swimmers in general.
Yeah.
So this is just another form of swimming. And then you tell them that you've got this title and that title, and you train and you've got this breath hold, and they're all literally glued to your story. So
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
really,
Well,
really
hopefully,
nice.
like this interview, we go back and listen to some of the points that you said as well. That it's more of an in-depth kind of the discipline that it takes for you to do. Just to coming up to the final questions now as well, and in my research of mermaids and stuff, I come across some YouTube stuff. Was an interesting area of it where they were finding ancient bones and stuff like that that kind of had towels at the end, so it's half skeleton half towels and stuff like that. And there's a lot of claims out there to be found of actual real mermaid community of people as well out there that believe that. What is, and I don't want this to be an insulting question, because you don't want to ask a mermaid, are mermaids really real? But what is your take on that?
Oh, I have seen, again, so much stuff, and you kind of watch it going, is this real? I think a lot of them have been proven to be made up, and they are,
Yeah,
falsified, and it is all kind of an elaborate stunt, if you like. Um, which is a bit of a shame in a way, because I think we've all kind of grown up, you know, sort of seeing things and going, oh my god, that was real. And you kind of even thinking about the dinosaurs. How were dinosaurs real? How
yeah.
how did they even
It
exist? They were
almost sounds like
huge.
someone made that up as a YouTube video now. And
Yeah. Yeah. So it's kind of the same thing with mermaids. It's like, well, where did the idea actually come from? How did it come about? Was there actually a creature of some sort, and it's then spiraled into what it is today? It's yeah,
and
what
I
is
think
out
that is
there?
that you've just hit the nail on the magic of it there, that the unknown um entity of it as well is what hits upon the magic of it. So and obviously, like, there's so many people who put out stuff online, and but that has really hit to the heart of it, really, that everything's got a starting point.
Yeah,
Everything
yeah.
does have a starting point, definitely, and it's just a nice yeah, a nice thing to end on as well. And just to end the interview then, Laura, what's next for you for the future?
Oh, well, getting back into the aquariums, hopefully.
Yeah.
That would be nice. I'm missing a lot of my marine friends. There's a turtle called Ernie up in Manchester who I call him my boy. Um, he loves me and I love him. So definitely missing him. I want to go and feed him some lettuce and cucumber soon. Just yeah, hope to be back on the road and swimming with all my girls, my Mer sisters. We call each other Mer sisters. Missing them a lot, of course, and just yeah, inspiring kids of today, because for them they're seeing something that they've been told
Yeah,
time and
definitely.
time again, it's not real, and then they see us and
Best thing to
we are.
incorporate that with, there's a lot of stuff, with cleaning up the ocean and stuff nowadays as well and stuff. And so I think that it goes hand in hand. The positives of what you're doing as well will kind of
Mhm.
inspire kids as well to get into that. And it's a lovely
Yeah.
way to get into that through the story of mermaids as well. Cool.
Yeah, I'm a massive kind of ocean campaigner as well, especially being Miss Ocean World Europe. The whole idea of the competition is that we're campaigning for a pollution-free ocean. So actually, in my sewing business, so I've got my own Etsy shop, and I'm making an eco range of products. So I've already done reusable face wipes, eco flannels for the kids. I literally yesterday I released for new mums. I actually made reusable breast pads out of eco-friendly materials. And next up, I'm going to be doing like vegan wax wraps, so people don't have to use cling film and foil anymore. So
That's
I'm
fantastic.
constantly
Excellent.
thinking, what's next? Next product, next product, next product. Let's ditch the plastic, stop single use, and hopefully we can all make a difference.
Yeah, nice one. So I'll put all the links in the description to your social media pages. But how would what's the main ones that people, if they want to follow your journey, what's the main ones that they can find you at? And like I said, I'll leave them in the link in the description as well.
Yeah, so I'm on Facebook, Mermaid Twinkle, and also on Instagram as mermaid_twinkle.
Fantastic, Laura. This has been great, and I could have spoke to you for hours. We'll have to come back and do a part two in
Part 2,
yeah.
yes.
Excellent. And yeah, have a great rest of your weekend. And yeah, thank you for watching this episode of Be Here Now with Jay France featuring Laura Hudson. And hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you very much. Goodbye, Laura.
Thank you very much. Good to talk to you.